I can only control what I can control. And when you start realizing that your life is hard enough and you don't need to worry about anybody else's life, like there's a big relief on your shoulders. You know what I mean?
It's complicated because there's so much involved with, like, for example, like I ask myself, why do people do that?
Mm,
Why do people feel the need to come in and tell you how to live your life, and why does everyone have an opinion on me? And I think that I had noticed it in myself, to be honest, too. And I was like, oh wait, I do it, and this is why I do it.
mm,
And the reason is because it's a distraction from your problems. Because if somebody
mm.
else is always the problem, because if someone else is always the problem, then you're not as bad as you thought. And so it's almost like an excuse to not deal with your stuff.
Yeah,
And it's not, I'm not saying that's the only reason. There's plenty of reasons, but that's a big factor in
yeah.
why I would do it.
That makes
And
a
you
lot of
call that
sense,
like
though.
the
Yeah.
rescuer is what it's called, is essentially the person that has to fix somebody else because it keeps them distracted from their own issues. And so if somebody else is the
Mm,
problem, it's not you that's the problem that has to be fixed. And so, but that only works if the person doesn't get help. If that person actually starts doing the things that they need to correct their mistakes, and all of a sudden the focus comes back to you, and then
yeah,
typically the response is, oh, I don't want to deal with that, so bye. And so a lot of
yeah,
relationships end that way.
yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway,
Dude,
that's my 2 cents.
yeah. I mean, I never even thought about that. That's genius. That makes a lot of sense now that you say that. Because yeah, I think misery loves company. We know that,
Hmm.
and life is very difficult, which I think is why sometimes we do get caught up in our devices and we want to live vicariously through celebrities and friends and better looking people and more successful people and blah 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 blah, because we don't want to deal with our own shit. And
Hmm.
I think that again is a problem in itself that I think people need to identify. But like most addictions, you can't really tell someone that. They're just going to have to learn it through trial and error. And like the alcoholism analogy, they're going to get help when they get help, and if they don't, it's going to kill them. And unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do about it. And that's hard to say. And I think, I'm not saying not to be compassionate. I'm a very compassionate person, and I love my family and I love my friends. But I've also been fucked over by a lot of friends too, through no fault of my own. It's how they are. I have one friend in particular that, involved with my wedding and planning, and I thought we were brothers. And then, he gets married and has kids, and I get ghosted. No
Hmm.
reason. I didn't do anything. I asked mutual friends. I was like, hey, man, is everything cool? Like, they think everything's fine between us. So obviously, he is not talking shit about me. So I look at that and I go, well, obviously, there's nothing I did. Maybe his new wife doesn't want me to be a part of his life. I don't know. Maybe there was something I did say, but he doesn't want to confront me about it. There, again, nothing I can do, right, in that situation. But this is an individual that almost a decade, I've spent
Mm.
almost every moment with this individual, and nothing. So I look at it like, did I waste time? No. Because, those were some of the best times of my life. I enjoyed it. It was great. But you also look at it like, they're not going to be there forever. So you want to be compassionate. That's okay. But there might be something that's out of your control that, that relationship might get cut off. And that could go with family too, not just with friends. That could be a mother, a father, a cousin, a brother. That could be a lot of things. So the more energy you spend on other people, is my point, the more devastated you're going to be if that ever ends. But one thing that I think is true with all things is if you could focus 100% of your time, effort, and energy on fixing yourself and being the best you can be, that's going to affect a lot of other positive relationships in your life. You're a better spouse, a better relationship with your parents and your siblings. If you're a better person, that's why they always say if you're going down in a plane, put your mask on first, then put on everyone
Mm.
else's. Is because
Hmm.
if you're if you got no oxygen, you can't help anybody next to you.
In
And
fact, yeah.
the true is that in life as well, where you just have to make sure that you are the best human you could be, because you're going to be able to help other people that way.